Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Change for the Better. Today, we're thrilled to share the inspiring story of Sixto Packaging, a longtime BW converting customer with over 40 years of partnership. We'll be discussing their remarkable journey from their family's origins in Cuba to achieving the American dream, their dedication to American manufacturing, and their extensive use of Barry Wehmiller Company equipment. Not to mention the latest Afusion C flexographic printing press, the first PCMC press to go into Florida. Joining us here today from Sixto Packaging are Felipe Eduardo Sixto, Andy Sixto, and Felipe Ignacio Sixto, as well as Peter Kushnitsky from PCMC. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. To start us off for our audience who want to learn a little bit more about y'all, could you just briefly introduce yourselves and your roles at Sixto Packaging as well as PCMC?
Thank you for the introduction. Peter Kushnitsky from PCMC. I joined the paper converting machine company 2019 when they acquired a company that I had started some time ago. Currently, I am the Southeast sales rep, and that's why I've come to Sixto and got to know these fine fellows. So thank you.
Good evening. I'm Andy Sixto. I've been with Sixto Packaging since I was probably 15. I am the production manager, plant manager, overseeing presses, litters, where I got started off back when I was a teenager.
I'm Felipe Eduardo Sixto. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Sixto Packaging. I handle sales, marketing, strategic planning, and making sure that our vision for the future in equipment and technology is in place.
Good evening. I am Felipe Ignacio Sixto. I'm the applications engineer at Sixto Packaging. I purchase, develop, rig, and service all of our machinery.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Well, we would love to know just the story of how Sixto Packaging came to be, how it was founded. I'm actually going to throw that one over to you, Felipe.
Absolutely. Well, the most important thing about Sixto Packaging is that we're a family-owned and operated company. Our grandparents, Andy and I grandparents, founded the company when they came over from Cuba around 1968 was when they founded the company. And it was our grandfather and grandmother working out of a garage making cellophane bags. And one of our oldest customers was right next door to them. And at night, my grandfather would go help him fill his spice bags. So we have a long relationship with customers dating back from the late 60s. And then through the years, my father and my uncles joined the company at different times and slowly kept growing the company. And we really grew up in the company. Like Andy says, you know, he was 15, 16. I was 14, 15 in high school, going on summer break and running what happens to be a BW, a piece of equipment. And, you know, went off to school, came back, and really have grown as a family and as a company together, so much so that, you know, we're in our fourth generation now with my son, who's lucky enough to, we're lucky enough to have him in our company and kind of complete the whole family aspect and the way we do business.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very unique perspective to have that family approach to business. So with your extensive history with the company and with your customer base, what does it really mean to you to be a company that is made in America? And we'll actually ask you, Felipe Eduardo, as well as Felipe Ignacio.
So our whole philosophy when we're, especially from a sales standpoint, when I'm talking to my customers, I tell them the importance of having a local more than a supplier, a local partner, someone that's going to be there when they're having issues. Because when things are going right, everybody's is a hero. It's when, you know, the issues come up that your real partners in manufacturing and in business take over and become the true heroes. So our philosophy is you need a local partner, and it's what we preach. So we also practice it. We believe that BW being an American company making their presses and equipment here in the United States, their service techs living in our backyards, speaking our language, which is not English, it's service. There's nothing better than an American serviceman who the next day will be at your plant fixing your equipment, making sure it's running smooth. And that just makes all the difference.
Yeah, and I think when you guys all came up, our team up in Green Bay did a great job showing all the capabilities, the Accelerate service department, and then when we had the press demo, how well that went and how all the guys really did a good job for you guys.
Absolutely. And one thing that was very impressive in your plant is how many people you employ, and that's something we take pride in, is how many families really do live off of Sixto Packaging and all the work that we put together. We couldn't do it without them. They couldn't do it without us, and we couldn't do it without our partners in the industry.
Yeah, we appreciate that. So
Being able to see that firsthand is a very, I've already used this word, unique, but it's an incredible experience as well to have that personal relationship. Well, I mean, Sixto Packaging has been a BWCS customer for over 40 years. I mean, it's quite the amount of time. So could you talk about just this long-term partnership and like what it's meant to you?
Yeah, like Felipe was saying, we all grew up in summer. There was no summer for us. It was summer, school finished, it was go to work. So I was probably the oldest one, and I would get there, and the first equipment I started running was our old 1984 Stanford doctor machine rewinder, slitter, and which is still running and just like new, actually. That's one of the best working equipments there is out there. And throughout the years, it's been a great experience to see that happen. With the slitters, when we decided to add more slitters, we went ahead and got another Stanford 738, the first edition of the Stanford 738 that came out. We were the ones who bought it. And we've had amazing results with it, as well as adding 2 extra ones to our facility, and also adding 3 Hudson Sharp interlock machines to it.
Well, from what BW companies has Sixto Packaging actually purchased equipment from, Andy?
We purchased equipment from Stanford, Acroply, Hudson Sharp, and I believe that's...
And now
PCMC.
Yeah.
And what role have you seen with this equipment from BWCS and just its subsidiary companies played in your company's operations that you've seen, Felipe?
The Stanford slitter machines helped us take a step forward in quality, which is what we're looking forward to with the PCMC press. And the 3 interlock machines that we've purchased from them helped us improve on capacity and offering a new service of interlock on our packaging.
And Peter, I would love it if you could discuss just the type of customer support, because we've been talking about this thus far in the podcast, but just the type of customer support and service that BW Converting and PCMC provide to companies like Sixto Packaging. I mean, how do you ensure that their needs are just continually met? I mean, not just once, but continually.
yeah, so we have a complete team that we call Accelerate, and there's engineers that are involved. For instance, so it is 24 hours, 7 days a week service. And for instance, it's a weekend, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. There's at least one engineer dedicated to the phone. So you don't have to send a help email. You can call direct, and somebody will be there to answer you. And I think that was really something that you guys have used with the Hudson Sharp side of things, and also with the Stanford stuff. So, and like they said, we're local. You're not calling into Europe or into Asia. I mean, we're as local as it gets, and we are the only U.S.-made CI flexo press in the country.
And having that responsiveness just speaks volumes. I mean, you recently purchased the first CI Fusion C, Felipe, for Florida. Could you just share your experience in purchasing this type of new equipment?
Well, we had the pleasure of visiting several companies, and we really looked into all of our options when picking out a press. And I would say the only true machine manufacturer, not a company that just assembles a machine, but one that manufactures all of their components, it was PCMC.
Well, yeah, and that was my follow-up question, was just what were the main reasons for choosing PCMC for your new printing press? And Felipe Eduardo can jump in here.
I would say the number one priority, as we've been speaking, has been service. We learned the hard way that service is the most important thing. Quality is there, and we've seen it through all of our other machinery from BW. But service was the most important thing, and they have demonstrated to us that throughout the years, service was there, and also productivity and being able to produce quicker, more efficiency in the presses. That really took to us, what we really needed in a press, and that's why we went with them.
Yeah, the technology on the press is impressive. I think many companies have similar technologies, but what PCMC has done is make a user-friendly press, which is really one of the main reasons I think as well that we like the press, and that it's going to help us because we're able to train our employees to be quicker and to use technology in the process to make things simpler and quicker.
Absolutely. And Peter, bringing it back to you, could you tell us about some of the latest technological advancements in PCMC equipment that are available to customers like Sixto Packaging, and just, how these types of advancements really set your equipment apart in the industry from others?
Good question. So, I would say most of the presses are similar, but, we all use servo motors, et cetera. But I think just the robustness is a key to the PCMC line of presses. We also, we also have other presses, not just the CI press. We have a Fusion, and then we also have an ELS Max. Everything's engineered in Green Bay. All the metal is cut in Green Bay. Software, all designed, with our local guys and our vendors that have been part of us for a long time.
Yeah, that machine shop.
There's not a motor on that machine you can't get to. Everything has a big door. Everything's accessible. You can get to every belt and screw very easily, and that's important. Yeah,
and since you're the guy that is the one that's going to be looking at it, that was definitely something appreciated when you saw it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and to see it being made there, and you don't have to. You could call, and you need a part, and you have it in your storage and your facility. That's excellent.
Yeah, our sales director, Rodney Pennings, he claims that it is the largest machine shop north of Chicago, is our machine shop there in Green Bay.
And it sure seems that way when we're up there and toward the facility.
Ridiculously large.
And looking a little bit in the future, how do you foresee PCMC equipment specifically helping when it comes to converting processes?
Efficiency and quality.
Yeah, I think the productivity of being able to print at 1,500, 1,600 feet a minute and maintaining quality, color, registration is crucial, and it's going to make my life as the director of sales a whole lot easier to go out there showing videos and clips of the press running at that speed, maintaining quality, and improving our lead times and everything else. It's definitely going to make my life easier.
And that makes my life easier as well. Customers calling saying, when are you going to have my film? We could produce quicker, because now we have a machine that's capable of producing at higher speeds, and turnaround time could be cut down just because of that press.
In other words, I might not get yelled at by Andy. Why did you promise this?
To be able to deliver.
I'll go back to something I noticed when we were looking at all these presses. Another specific press manufacturer said that no press manufacturer was making their own CI drum. And, all of us got to see PCMC machining their own drum. And this is, a huge hunk of metal, and they get it right. So.
Yeah, it's actually ground in-house with the, so it's coated and then ground in-house to tolerances. and then basically it never leaves its motor and gets installed into the press.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
That
impressive.
was a very impressive.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the various markets as well that Sixto Packaging serves, and just how equipment from BWCS as well as PCMC supports your operations in all these specific areas. Felipe Eduardo?
Yeah, so one of like Andy said, we've had slitter rewinders from Stanford Acroply for many years. So everything that we produce basically goes through those machines, checking quality, slitting them to tight tolerances on the roll stock. The other piece of equipment that has we got the first machine around 2015, which was an interlock machine. Since then, we've gotten 3 of them, including one just late last year. It's allowed us to add pre-zippered roll stock to packages so that our customers could produce on their vertical form fill equipment, many of them running BW baggers and other hasten equipment as well. The market where that's been crucial and has really allowed Sixto Packaging to thrive and grow has been in the produce, both fresh and frozen produce. So we're producing millions of impressions a week of interlock roll stock on those machineries. So with the technology, with the productivity, with the efficiencies that we have in the converting side of things, I can't wait to see what we could do with PCMC technology on the print side of things.
Absolutely. And that's my next question here is actually looking ahead. I mean, what are your future plans for Sixto Packaging?
Well, we're planning to grow. We're setting ourselves up. We actually just poured the foundation last week. So the pad where this press is going to be installed here in the next 3 months is complete and curing. And we're starting to look at our entire process, our information management system, everything in-house, to make sure that we could keep up with the output that the press could, you got to feed that press. If not, it's going to be stopped because it's a fast-producing piece of equipment. So we're trying to improve our organization as a whole in our manufacturing standard operating procedures and our sales practices. We're already reaching out to have our sales staff out there pounding the ground, reaching new customers and old customers, because like I always say, sometimes the best way to grow is not finding a new customer. It's, improving with the customers you have already, which are, some of our most loyal customers are our longest customers. And it's a wonderful thing to have those relationships. So we're going to keep growing. We're going to keep expanding, keep improving. There's a whole army of Sixtos that was at the plant this summer, a bunch of young kids. So who knows, how we'll develop them. We had a couple in the mounting room. We had a couple throwing out trash, sweeping the floor. We even had my 12-year-old son watering the pad. So we have a whole new slew of Sixtos that just like our parents and grandparents developed Andy, they helped develop me. They helped develop Felipe. We're gonna do our best to develop that next generation and keep the company growing into the future and make our grandparents and parents proud.
As you should. And, as we start nearing the end of the podcast here, you mentioned you were able to see all those other Sixto companies for the future prepping. Well, what advice would you give to other companies in the packaging industry looking to achieve similar success? We can go around.
Well, one of the things I would say is, there's a lot of big companies out there, billion-dollar companies in the package industry. But I think there's a whole lot more medium-sized companies out there, and a lot of the times, including ourselves in the past, we've not cut corners, but tried to find a little bit cheaper route, perhaps. Say, let's save $500,000. Sounds like a lot of money, but when your productivity is affected month over month or however long, that price difference between equipment really shrinks down. So the one thing I would say is do your homework, make sure you're looking for a partner in your equipment that will be there when you need them, that has the technology and the productivity, and it'll be worth every penny. And that's something we've learned probably the hard way, but we learned the lesson, and that's the most important thing, to learn and to move forward.
Well, thank you so much. That wraps up the end of our podcast here. So thank you again to Felipe Eduardo, Andy, Felipe Ignacio, and Peter for joining us here today. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Absolutely. Just being able to hear you share your family's incredible journey and just insights with us today, we thank you. Your family story is truly inspiring and just a testament to the power of hard work and dedication. So to our listeners, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Change for the Better podcast, and stay tuned for more episodes where we continue to explore industry innovations and success stories. I've been your host, Gabrielle. Thanks for tuning in.